Today is a very important day. I would even use the word cultural renaissance. We are celebrating the Pravasi Gujarati Parv, and right now as we sit here, there is a debate in the Indian Parliament in the both houses which is taking place, and it's on Ayodhya, Ram Temple. From outside, how do you see the cultural renaissance which has taken place in this country? To you, sir.
Well, that's quite a tough one, first thing in the morning, as visitor.
On this issue, the Prime Minister Modi has got the entire country together. The judiciary was on one page, and today the entire House sits, both the houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha.
Yeah, look, he's made an absolute impact the last few years, and lots of people who maybe don't follow Indian politics are recognition as a Prime Minister that actually previous occupants of the post have not had, probably since Indira Gandhi's day, to be honest. So that name recognition is then. But the cultural renaissance of Gujarat particularly, I think you've got 2 mayors here, 2.5 mayors and a deputy mayor here as well, right? I mean, this is like I tend to have a running joke at the moment in London. And anyone who's been to London knows about London buses. You wait one for ages and then you get 2. Listen, we got 3 mayors here, right? They all come at the same time. But my mission this year was actually to amplify some of that Gujarati culture. And I think we are a diverse city of London, with so much of our continent, from Punjabis in the north, to Tamils in the south. And actually, the Gujaratis got missed out a bit. But now we've put that back on the map and actually saying, be celebrating our culture a lot more. And I think maybe that awareness and that link through Modi as well has helped some of that enable us to make it a lot slightly easier.
Absolutely, please.
So, what I wanted to add...
Can you speak closer to the mic?
Better? Better? So, what I wanted to add is Prime Minister Narendra Modi is more than just a Prime Minister. He's a great communicator. And because he's a great communicator, he has a presence. And when you have a presence, people listen to you. So the important bit is you just don't be an elected person who is very passive. Narendra Modi is very dynamic. He reads the room. He reads the situation, he reads the issues, and then he communicates the issues. And those talents have not always been present with other prime ministers or other leaders. But the uniqueness of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is he's a great communicator and he reads the room right.
Can I take a second question? Okay. My second question to you is that, Gujarati contribution in terms of global economy and politics is a story which everyone is aware of. But when you sit on those high tables, today we are looking at a changed circumstances. Gujaratis were able to create financial, political, cultural spaces when it comes to Indian imagination in Americas or Australia. But today we are at the cusp of the second Cold War. How do people feel when there's a great Cold War rivalry which is taking place between America, China and Russia? What are your thoughts, when India is battling at the 2 fronts? Because we have a reality in context of a border, and then we have, the larger politics of trade. How do you people look at that? Because, a view from abroad.
Before we get into that, we have some members of the audience who have complained that they can't hear clearly. Sound and tech team, can you please fix that? Either increase the gain, इनके माइक का या तो गेन बढ़ा दीजिए या वहां पे साउंड. Am I audible? On that side? Okay, तो गेन बढ़ा दीजिए और इनके माइक्रोफोन्स का भी गेन बढ़ा दीजिए so that it's audible. Yes, sorry.
I will take a little bit of time and answer both your questions. First of all, about the Ram Mandir issue and the renaissance that you're talking about. It was not only in India, it was a global phenomenon. It was celebrated in Kenya, in Uganda. We spent 3 days You know, there was Hanuman Chalisa, there was a rally, you know, people taking a walk, and with the flags, and the local government gave permission for that. And it was a festive mood for all Hindus, I believe, all over the world. So like the honorable member here...
I would say all Indians, as Prime Minister said. Rashtra ka parv tha, kisi dharm ka nahi tha. Rashtra parv.
Yes.
As Prime Minister Modi said.
And like he said, the honorable member just summarized it. I think the Prime Minister Modi, with whom I've happened to spend quite a bit of time when he was Chief Minister Gujarat, I hosted him in Uganda, and as Prime Minister of India, we hosted him again in 2017. So he is an excellent communicator, and he knows what to say when and how to say it. So if you look at the diaspora, and what we are doing here today is that he managed to identify, everybody knew we existed. I belong to a family that has lived outside India for more than 100 years. But he identified us and brought us within the fold, and is now riding on that goodwill and the assets that we hold. Now, if you come to your next question, is that how is it, you know, from a foreign affairs kind perspective? I also had the pleasure of interacting with the Honorable Minister Jaishankar, and we discussed this, and I think he is also a big...
Was this discussed?
Yes, and he is a big gift to India. While we all give all praises to Prime Minister Modi, I think he's built a wonderful team, and Honorable Jaishankar is one of those. And if you look at the way he's communicated on the issues that you just raised, the Russian-Ukraine war, positioning India firmly, you know, no Indian leader before had the audacity to tell off the Western powers that, you know, we will do what is right for India. And I think that position of his was out of this world and was music to some of our ears. Some of us that live outside, and like the Chief Minister in his speech earlier today said, that, you know, when you put your passport or when they look at you, they judge you. Today we are judged differently. Today we are positioned differently. And the amount of respect that we command has changed tremendously because of this sitting government. So all credit due to all those gentlemen up there.
I have a question for all four of you actually, and we'll begin with Mayor Sir Chauhan Saab. I've happened to visit the UK just 2.5 weeks ago. I was there on a show tour, and I will be going to Uganda in the next 2 months. What is, from that perspective over there, because we celebrate the festival, Pravasi Gujarati Parv. So this is the festival of those Gujaratis that either migrate or visit back. And I'm sure you, your family members, generationally have been visiting India, even though you've moved out maybe either for more than 100 years if your family has lived out, but you'll do keep coming back. What are the big changes that you see in Gujarat?
I came here 7 years ago, just as with my friend, to actually see Gujarat, to see what it was like. It was an eye-opener.
And this is 7 years later?
7 years later. When you open the door in Mumbai, you have that whiff of smell which gives you a headache. And then when you come by train, because there was no flights to Ahmedabad here, you came by train, you had to go through the hustle and bustle of all these people trying to fight to get on the train. It was an eye-opener for me, something which I've never seen. Now I came back 7 years later, which I've been invited here to say a few words and explain, like you just said, what are the changes I have seen. So many changes here. It's cleaner, the streets, the people are more polite, the food is more healthier than what it was because people have an upset stomach from eating the food. The rickshaws are more controlled now. You've got Uber, a little seam of Uber here which has never been here before. I travelled on the train from here to see Sardar Patel's Statue of Unity. The unique thing what happened was, when they found out I was here, I was able to have a police escort. I said, I don't want to go by car. I want to be with the villagers to go by train. to see what it's like, because I wanted to make sure my wife sees every part of India here while she's here. It was an eye-opener. The people were friendly. The landscape was different, more fruity, more greenery. I went to the Statue of Liberty, saw the statue, went up to the heart of the site of the statue, where you can look from the window. People always asked, do you go to the top? No, you always go to the section where the heart is, and you can look out to see the landscape. You see the dam. You see the zoo. You see the difference he has made to the country to support the people who are poor, the towns that have no money, the towns that have no able to speak English, or shall I say, even write English. Those are the things, the changes he has done. He's helped people who have nothing. I remember when I came 7 years ago, they were saying that do not go near untouchable. The culture has changed slightly. I remember myself when I was in East Africa, when Idi Amin said, leave the country. I'm one of the survivors, and I can say that I am the first East African Ugandan as the mayor of the United Kingdom from East Africa. I chose a chaplain that's never been chosen before in the country. I chose the Swaminarayan chaplain from BAPS. Yogi Swami, I chose him. It's unique. The things I want to do, the things I want to portray, is to say that India is here for everybody. My theme I've chosen is unity and diversity, to bring people together. If the world comes together as one, it'd be a much happier place. At this present moment, the things which are happening is not good for anybody, it's not good for the economy, and it's not good for the people who are living. And I think that the changes that Modi has done, they used to call him a Tiwala, Chaiwala. You said that he's a very good listener. He understands because he was there as a poor person, as myself. We are very good listeners. We are very good people to communicate. We are there to support as many people as possible because we understand the poverty. And now we're in a position to actually help those people, and he is. That's the unique thing.
And that's his motto, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which you actually very poetically mentioned. One world, one family.
Can I reverse the question? Can I reverse the question? Generally, what happens is, questions are on the expectations from the diaspora. You know, the people at the high table, so you have those expectations. I'll reverse the question, I'll reverse the game. What are your expectations from the India story, from the other side? When you come to Gujarat, the questions are the expectations from you. I'm reversing it. What are your expectations from the India story?
For Indians here, the expectation I want with them to be better, to communicate better, be polite. I've seen the attitude that they have. The roads are completely different. Nobody follows the system. They follow a system to get to A to B the quickest way, not follow the rules and regulations. If they follow the rules and regulations, things will happen better. But they only believe it doesn't matter. But these are the things that they should actually improve. The streets, they throw food on the floor and things like that. But things can change. But the situation here is changing. I know Modi wants Ahmedabad to be in the Olympics in 2035. He's moving quite rapidly, fast, and the only way he can do that is everybody comes together as one.
You are absolutely
and does
right.
it
He's
quickly.
the second prime minister. The previous one, I really don't want to get it because it was done at a time when there was no democracy, when the constitution was suspended. Modi is the only prime minister to seriously speak about duties, because constitution not only gives you rights, Indian constitution also mentions duties. You're absolutely right, spot on. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, expectations of us on the other side, especially the panel that you've chosen today. All of us are politicians, and by virtue of what we do is we represent people. So they represent British people, maybe of all colors, creed, race, and religion. Same here. I do not have any person of Indian origin that voted for me when I was getting into office, but we serve all people. And the biggest issue today out there is globalization and what he termed as, what Modi ji keeps on saying, Vasudev Kutumbam. So in that particular case, the globalization, we as Gujaratis, and relevant to this particular event today, is that are there enough Gujaratis in politics overseas? Are we particularly playing our role in policy? Because traditionally we are known as business people, and our parents bring us up specifically to do business.
So it's not a stereotype, huh?
No, it isn't.
It's not a stereotype.
It isn't, but I mean, that's the teaching. Whether you go to any family, they will say, okay, you know, Bapno Gallo Sambharvano.
So that is Gujaratism, huh?
Yes, and that's Guju for you. But at the end of the day, you have people like us who've veered off, the weird ones, if you want to hear what my parents would say.
Path, huh?
Yeah, and I am here to encourage the next generation that for you to do business properly, you need to be part of policy making. You need to be part of the duties and the rules that we've been talking about. And if you're not part of that making, then you're definitely left out in the entire equation.
So, just to take on your lead, okay? So, I'm not a businessman. I've never done business. I am a medical doctor, okay? And I work to serve. I don't do private practice. I work. I work in the National Health Service, and that's what I do. But on the subject of Vasudev Kutumbam, let me share something important with you. So if you look up Dr. Bharat Pankhania on Google, you will find I was on the world's media talking about COVID, because that's what I do. I'm an expert in infectious diseases. So periodically, whenever I got the chance, I would say it, and I would say it in Sanskrit. The whole world is our family. I would say it in Indian. We have a saying which said Vasudevai.
So can you speak closer to the mic?
Yeah, we would say we have a saying in Sanskrit, which is Vasudevai Kutumbam, which means the whole world is our family. I was saying it in the context of just because the United States, European Union, United Kingdom are fully immunized doesn't mean that COVID is now not our problem. Unless and until you immunize Africa, I was fighting for Africa, right? Unless and until you immunize Africa and you give Africans the vaccines, and India is supplying the vaccines, and all the other parts of the world, we are not well. So until the whole world is well, we are not well. One more final point I wanted to just say, mirroring from what you were saying, you saw changes in Gujarat. What I want to say, whilst change is good, we also have to remain who we are, right? And we are warm-hearted, open, welcoming Gujaratis. And we mustn't forget who we are. You know, who we are also makes us special. Just because we've got good hotels and roads and everything, we appreciate that. But I would say, don't change your character. Your character, your welcome, your warmth, your openness is equally important.
Very beautifully put. You wanted to say something, sir? Hitesh?
Well, it's a bit of both, really. I think it was, I mean, just the last point, it's partly like Gujarati DNA, isn't it? I think I mean, just give you a cheap example. I think when I became mayor, I used to say, our ceremony, I said, I want no Punjabi samosas, it had to be Gujarati samosas, you know, and no Bhangra dances, I need Garba, you know. But I think the gentleman on the end, I think it was about the involvement in public service and public politics. You know, I think it's been a former Indian High Commissioner to UK, not the current one, the previous one, was encouraging us to get involved. People of Indian origin, but not necessarily about faith, but particularly people of Hindus who weren't getting involved. But obviously, we've now got a Hindu Prime Minister in UK. But there are more Hindus obviously getting involved. I mean, just we're two boroughs in London side by side, just to say I'm the only Gujarati councillor in the borough of Ealing, and therefore the only Gujarati mayor ever. But we've got colleagues here from Brent and Harrow, which in northwest London, very similar. I always say there's plenty of me like that, you know, in those boroughs. But we have a responsibility, like you said, to be at the top table and to take seriously. You know, I'm part of that generation born in the UK, actually have to challenge, I still call it some imperialistic attitudes at times, to say, actually, we're not just here to, you know, say what you think I should do, but I have my own mind. People behind me of Gujarati heritage have been very successful in businesses, absolute billionaires, trillionaires across the world, you know, so we do know what we're doing. And I think that's the key for us to be, and we've got people here in it as well who are involved in politics at a high level back in the UK as well.
Well, I'm...
just when he spoke about, you know, what a Guju is, you know, I think it's different from different people. You know, I studied in a Gujarati institution in Delhi, Sardar Patel Vidyalaya, the oldest in New Delhi. I grew up with Gujaratis. So the first word which I understood as a child in Gujarati was ba. And the second thing which I understood, which was specifically Gujarati, was jhula. And the third thing which I understood about Gujarati was laddu after the puja. So, you know, it means different things to different people, you know.
Well, I think the first and the last word are very important. Ba and laddu. So ba and a ladwa. Every Gujarati is, I think, as long as you understand ba and a ladwa, I think your life is set. Any Gujarati who knows the word ba, and if it ends with ladwa, I think that was the first.
Place, and then I would say, I'm going to ba.
Yeah,
and the second thing I would see her was sitting on a jhula, and the third thing was I was offered a laddu.
झूला झूला तो ठीक है बीच में, लेकिन क्या होता है, बा और लड्डू के सफर के बीच में कहीं बापूजी आ जाते हैं बीच में. And that brings us to a very we wouldn't really want to end this.
We are running short of time. So
we are running short of time. Unfortunately, these wonderful gentlemen, we would like to thank and felicitate them. The one point that I really want to thank all of you for is bringing up the point that how Indians, not only Indians but also Gujaratis, can take part in the system of reforms, in the system of making policy, in the system of looking at the whole idea from one world, one family, not just from a perspective of your own country, but the countries that are all working together with India leading on some fronts, especially Gujaratis. We really thank you for it. These gentlemen are here, and I would really invite a lot of our other guests who also represent different fractions and multiple communities from Gujaratis world over to communicate, and we're just running a little short of time.
We are running short of time. A minute, sir.
I'll be very quick, because I think it goes to the slightly first question, because I haven't been here in 32 years. So actually coming here yesterday was my first time. So that change, I had a fear of coming back after coming here as a student. But this change has been dramatic here, I have to say.
And you should be proud that the change that you see here somewhere, whatever, આપણે ઘણીવાર ગુજરાતીમાં કહીએ કે અતિરુદ્ર મોટો હવન થતો હોય, એમાં એક નાની આહુતિ બી પડી જાય ને તો બી જન્મ સફળ થઈ જાય. So whatever contribution that you see, the development, the change that you see, or what Mayor Sir has said, after 7 years, somewhere down the line, your efforts overseas have also made that change happen. So you all should be very proud of it. Really, thank you for being a part of this panel.
To just substantiate what you've said, Nanji Kalidas Mehta from Uganda, Porbandar Kirti Bhavan, the Madhwani family, contribution to the freedom struggles when Mahatma Gandhi and them were leading the freedom. So Uganda has also contributed immensely to Gujarat in particular and India in general, and it gives us great pride and joy to still keep that thread going on. And we would like to thank you for hosting us here today. Thank you very much. And
we thank all of you, and that fiber is going to get stronger and stronger as time goes by. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so very much. We would like for all of us to come join us for a wonderful photograph.
Thank you.
These gentlemen are here, and we can converse with them for the rest of the day as well.
Thank you. I would like to request Shri